So in two of my previous videos, I have talked to you about how to ask somebody for an apology or how to ask somebody to change their behavior. And both of these videos were set in this beautiful, gorgeous dreamland where if you're just gentle, caring, and direct, people will care about you and they will do what you ask them to. And of course, unfortunately, that is not the world that we are living in today. But never despair, dear viewer, because I have 3 different strategies for you on how to respond to a person who meets your requests for an apology or a change by saying kind of like, well, what I'm doing is just not objectively wrong, it's not illegal, and I can't be asked to change just for you. So in this video, I'm going to go through the 3 responses you can do. The first being like very intensive, asking them to reconsider their stance. The second being like medium intensive, clearly marking your boundaries. And the third being kind of like withdrawal, the least intense, least confrontational method, but still requiring, you know, some proactive actions by you to take care of your well-being. And then for the purpose of this video, I'm going to have 2 examples that I'm going to talk through throughout. So my friend example in this video is going to be called doll shoes. And this is an example about, like, imagine you're a really like petite lady, you know, just like small, compact, and you have really small feet, and you're friends with a woman who is like a lot taller, like I guess like me, and she is just constantly saying like, oh my god, your feet, they're so small, you have like doll shoes. Every time you meet, she's like saying your feet are like doll shoes, or your, you know, watch is like a doll watch, and you're kind of like, please stop. But she's like, what? In most societies, you know, it's desirable to be really small, so it's not wrong of me to say you have like adorable doll shoes. Look at my huge feet. That's the thing that's not okay to talk about. Right? So that's my personal example. And my professional example is anxiety emails. So imagine you have this coworker who is very anxious and she's kind of an insomniac. So she will stay up, and then most nights around 1 or 2 a.m. she will send you an email. It's not anything mega urgent. It's just some of her concerns, maybe reminders. And then the first thing when you come into work, she wants to confront you about the topic of the emails if you haven't responded yet. And you're like, oh, look, I would like to kind of get started on my day in my own way. You know, these are not super urgent emails. Please stop. And she's like, no, but this is the way I work, and this is the way I need to work. This is, you know, I need to make sure things are getting done. Right? So you can kind of see that in both of these examples, neither the tall woman nor the anxious coworker are bad people. And I guess they're not doing something technically very wrong. They're just living their life to the best of their ability. But at the same time, you can see how their behavior is just not preferred for the receiver. So imagine that my receiver watches Raise Your Voice, and they go out there and they have like, I have a 5-step plan for how I'm gonna talk to you about changing your behavior. And then yeah, they just get this blow off response like, well, I'm not gonna change for you. I can't be asked to change my behavior for every person. It's just not wrong. What to do? Okay, so solution 1, I call this the intensive solution. And this is the solution for when you want to convince the person that they actually should be open to changing their preferences and changing their actions based on other people's feedback, and particularly your feedback. As I said in a previous video, I mean, this is a big task because you're not only asking somebody to change their behavior, you're also asking them to really reconsider their worldview in a sense. So of course I trust your judgment, my genius, amazing viewer. It's not gonna like work for many people in your life who just don't see you as somebody they maybe wanna take life lessons from. But it will also work with a lot of people, because actually I think many people want to hear this, and many people want to experience safer, more open, more nurturing relationships. So I don't think this is like a scary fight you're going to have. It's more like it's a lot of emotional labor for you. I think the reward is really big also, so it's worth it. But that's my caveat on using this approach. So what does this look like? If you want to get this person to reconsider the way they basically treat people, right? So when this person says, I just don't like to change for other people, or what I'm doing is not wrong, I would say, you know, introduce the concept of having that bigger conversation. So it's probably difficult to jump into it the same day if you've just had this failed confrontation. In many cases you can wait until a more opportune time. And again, since this is a conversation about really their world perspective, choose a time when you feel that is possible and maybe flag it to them. Be like, hey, you know, I've been thinking about something, about what we talked about last week with the shoes or the emails, and I wanted to talk to you about it. And then you want to introduce the topic of the conversation. So in this case, you want to say, I really disagree with you that we shouldn't be asked to change for other people, and I really want to invite you into a relationship where you and I take each other into account more. Then this person will be like, what does that mean? And you basically just want to explain to them that you don't want to live your life based on only what is objectively wrong or not wrong, but that you as an individual person have your own sensitivities, and that because you have a special relationship with this person, you would like for them to take these sensitivities into account. And then the next part, of course, is you say you want to take their sensitivities into account. So you introduce the concept of the relationship being based on these sensitivities, and you introduce the concept of reciprocity. So you make it clear that you would be willing to make the same changes for them. Because of course it's very frightening for people to give up a kind of behavior they're really used to if they're not gonna get something back or feel secure, right? So you want to offer the reciprocity. So this isn't just a principle about I'm your boss now, bitch. It's a principle of like, let's take care of each other. So, and then you basically just want to see what the person thinks about that. I cannot script this for you because that's just a literal conversation you want to have. But my main tip, as often is to return the conversation to the specific values you have. So in this case, I would again encourage you to remind that person about what it is about your relationship that makes you want to be in this reciprocal relationship with them. So in the doll shoes example, you maybe want to be like, oh hey, Jessica, you know, the reason I'm really asking you to stop doing this is because I would really like for us to become closer friends. And to become close friends with somebody, I really need this feeling of trust, like we're willing to, like, you know, make minor adjustments for each other. And I really value you as a person, and I would love to hang out more. So you're grounding it in that value. With the coworker, obviously you go more the professional route, and you're like, look, Jessica, you know, I really love working with you, and I feel we work so harmoniously. So I want to do everything we can to preserve our harmony, the well-being in the office, while making sure we remain effective. So you're tying it to your goals together in both cases. With friends, it's, you know, getting close, intimacy, fun, spending time together. With your coworker, your values are usually efficiency, like harmony, just well-being and success. So just keep returning the conversation to these goals and then see how it goes. Again, I don't have this clear script for you because people are different and this is really a bigger conversation. But the theme is to convince them about just willingness to change for each other. And often, yeah, you want to reassure them about the reciprocity, and you also want to reassure them about the scope. So, you know, the office Jessica, you would be like, of course, you know, I'm not gonna ask you to make huge changes in your life just for my sake, but I would like to be free to ask you about things that really affect my productivity or my ability to work harmoniously with you. So you kind of limit how much you're gonna ask, and you offer the reciprocity so as to make it feel safe for the person to enter into this relationship where they're willing to listen to. Okay, and again, this might feel scary, this might feel like a really big conversation, I mean, I guess it is, but I want everybody in the world to be having these kinds of conversations, and you know, it has to start somewhere. And again, if you feel awkward about it, you can just say that. Just say like, you know, this, I'm not super good at explaining these things, but I just really feel this is so important to my productivity or our friendship. So just be willing to be a bit vulnerable, because the end result is that you might actually get this person to be opening up to you and your needs. Okay, let's move on to my second solution. So that's in case like you feel like either, well, this person is just not going to change for me, maybe you know that already, or you feel, well, we don't really have this special relationship. I don't have the basis to ask this person to reconsider their worldview, or I don't feel like putting in this emotional labor. Okay, so then the medium approach is for you to clearly mark your boundary with that person. So in the doll shoes example, if you've asked this girl to stop saying your feet are like little doll feet and commenting on your doll shoes, and she says no, you're like, okay, Jessica, I understand that you're not willing to stop making these comments, but I really want you to know that I'm gonna keep asking you to stop every time you make them, because that's also my right. And also because I feel like you're not really willing to hear what my needs are about this minor issue, I feel like it's gonna prevent us from getting a lot closer. I love hanging out with you, I don't want to stop hanging out, but I just want you to know where I am. Again, you maybe while watching me say these things felt this clenching in your stomach, like what an aggressive thing to say. But it's not aggressive, it's just direct. And it's just saying what you're gonna do, because realistically, if every time you meet somebody they make you feel really bad about how small you are, I mean, assuming that this actually makes you feel bad, maybe you don't care about doll shoes, then substitute a different example. But if every time you meet somebody who's making you feel bad about your body, obviously you cannot really like get close to that person, because they have shown that they're not that interested in your feelings or in helping you with your needs when you express them directly. So really, like, where can the friendship go? It can go to having a fun time, hanging out, but just not, you know, like getting really close. So it's just, you're just saying that to the person. And then the second thing you're saying is, every time you say it, I'm gonna say it back. Because just like it's not illegal to say somebody's feet are like doll feet, it's not illegal to say, please don't say my shoes are like doll shoes. And it may, again, it may feel like you sound aggressive when you say it, but first of all, that's usually just because it's a new thing to stand up for yourself. But secondly, it's because you need to find your own way to stand up for yourself. Since this is a YouTube video, I can't give you a personalized one-on-one suggestion, but maybe your way isn't to say, please don't say that about my feet. Maybe your way is just to be like, you know, aggressively change the subject, or comment on how cute her shoes are, but say like, let's talk about your shoes instead. So like clearly marking the boundary anyway, but like not as directly. So you know, there's a lot of opportunity for imagination here. The important things are to mark your boundary to that person. In the work email example, you just want to be like, look, Jessica, I cannot look at your emails first thing in the morning because I need to protect my own work time. You know, you can suggest, for example, like, how about every morning at like 10 we have a debrief where we talk about your concerns, but I'm gonna keep my mornings to myself because I need to start the day with a clear focus and I can't be thinking about your focus. And then Jessica knows that, you know, you're not going to answer her emails first in the morning, and when she approaches you to talk about her emails first in the morning, you say like, let's talk about this at our morning chat. Right now, we're not gonna do that. So you can see that this strategy is just really effective for most people. It's like you're giving them a heads up about what you're gonna do, and then you're doing that thing, and you explain to them why you're doing it, and you usually have the right to do that thing. So it's just a really easy way to make your life better, even though, again, it might feel a bit intimidating. Okay, but if this feels too intimidating, if you feel like, again, I don't know how receptive this person would be. Maybe I just don't feel like I'm up to the emotional labor, or you know, I just can't. Okay. I mean, I guess the only option that's really left to you then is the minimal engagement option, which is you say nothing to that person. Maybe you make some passive aggressive remarks now and then, or even slightly aggressive remarks. But what are you gonna do then? Because you can't just leave it. You've already noticed that them doing that makes you feel bad. So I have a recommendation of some things you can do to help yourself. So first of all, I think when you're gonna meet that person, you should prepare yourself. So for your coworker, maybe you can't prepare yourself every morning, but maybe, you know, on Mondays you can think about it as like, you know, as part of this week, one stressor I'm dealing with is Jessica jumping on me with the emails. Okay, so I'm just like taking that into account as a thing. And then, you know, oh, I'm meeting my friend Jessica, and yeah, I just have to remember she makes a lot of weird comments about my body. So you prepare yourself to be a bit on guard. Then while you're with them, I would say come up with a strategy to be non-reactive without being, you know, overly passive. So you don't have to engage in Jessica's morning email discussion. You know, maybe just prepare like a vague murmury excuse to slip away at most mornings, so you have like some tools in your toolbox and you're not always coming up with your response on the spot, so like stressing yourself out. It's like, you know, it's gonna happen. Have your go-to things you're gonna say and then say those things. And then the final step is like debriefing. You know, after you meet this person or at the end of a work week, just give yourself some space to vent so that you can reaffirm to yourself that you hate this behavior, or that it's like not okay and it's not normal and you're not the bad guy. So, you know, write in your journal, talk to your friend, get some support from like a friend or a loved one who'll be like, oh yeah, oh my god, that's not that nice. I don't like that. I don't like that she's doing that. You know, why is this important? It's to keep like your frame of reference, because if you know that you don't like being jumped on in the morning by somebody's insomnia emails, but it happens, you know, 800 times, at some point you're gonna think you're the bad person for having feelings. You're the bad person for not wanting to jump on their insomnia emails train. And it's very hard to keep this sense of perspective. And ultimately, of course, maybe you just realize at some point, yeah, whatever, I don't care. My feet are like doll feet, whatever. That's nice. That's great. I mean, because it's like just, you know, if you genuinely let go of that insecurity and you can be the bigger person, like that's lovely and amazing. But alternatively, if it's something that you can't let go of, you know, you've seen this lady 15 times and it just keeps driving you crazy, then you want to make sure that it's not like you're the one who's being unreasonable, but that, you know, you have a right not to be called like a doll or whatever. Okay, so just to like recap the video really quickly, we have the high engagement option where you convince them to enter this mutual respect relationship. We have the medium solution, which is to mark a clear boundary and then to enforce it. And then we have the low engagement solution, which is to prepare a go-to response and then also find a way to really debrief yourself and be able to like kind of vent your feelings about this incident so as to give yourself some support with that situation. Thank you very much for watching, and if you liked the video, make sure to give me a like. And if you want to see more videos about how to stand up for yourself, then I would recommend watching either this how to ask for an apology or how to ask somebody to change videos.